Well, welcome back to school, everybody. And today I'm going to be talking to you about Gemini being added to your Google Classroom to make things a little bit easier for you while you're lesson planning, creating tests, differentiating, and communicating. So if you logged into Google Classroom already and you did not add the Gemini interface or add-on, you could always go back and add it later. Um, but if you have not logged into Google Classroom yet this year, it's going to prompt you to ask you if you want to add Gemini to your Google Classroom. I chose yes because I thought, let's see how this works out. It looked interesting. So when you click on Gemini, it's going to bring you to a whole bunch of tools that they have. Initially, it'll show you all, but it hasn't broken down into categories because there's an awful lot in here. Now, anytime you see the little diamond, that's going to bring you to the Gemini interface. It'll open it up into the actual Gemini program. But if you choose one of the ones that have icons by them, like let's say supporting students, where we can re-level text, translate a text, and so like if I want to translate it, let's say I want to re-level a text because we work with TCI and a lot of times they don't have it really how we need to level it, or it might not be low enough or high enough for a student in your room. So when you click on this, it's going to bring you to the re-level text editor. Now, you can do this in the regular Gemini program, but let me show you what's cool about using it within the add-on. So you're going to set a target grade. And so when you click that, let's say you're a 5th grade teacher and you need this at a 3rd grade level. Maybe you have a student who is not able to read at the grade level you need it for. So you put in the 3rd grade level, go into TCI, right? You get your lesson. I clicked on print so that I could get it open to a PDF. And then I'm going to simply take and copy. You can copy as much as you want. I'm going to do part 1 first. So I'm just going to highlight it, right click on it, and choose copy text. Okay. Then you're going to go back into your releveler. You're going to click into the add your text box, right click again, and choose paste. That's going to give you all of your text. Now here's the cool part. As we go back into TCI, we can see that matter is one of our keywords, right? So we want to make sure that they don't change that. Matter is the whole point. We're talking about matter is made of particles, right? So it's important that they know the word matter. So when I go back into here, I'm just going to sit here and put matter as my keyword, and that way it will keep it in the newly generated text. So when I click generate, now it's going to re-level the text. It's going to show you the original and it's going to show you the new generated text. It's going to show you underlined is the keywords, and there's a key at the bottom. A is the adjusted for target grade, the green is, and then the underlined with the dots are the keywords that stayed. So you'll be able to see where they added words to kind of lower the level so it's more understanding. Now the interesting thing is in the original text, it talks about particles. Over here, it talks about tiny pieces called particles. It gives a description of that. Whereas opposed to over here, it says each of these objects is made of tiny particles, too small to see with very powerful tools. So as you can see, it's so small you can't see them without special tools. Works very nicely. Now, when you come in here, here's the other beautiful thing. You can export it to a Google Doc and print it out for the student, or you can add it to your class for that particular student. If everybody's reading it digitally, you can have the student access it through Google Classroom if you're assigning through Google Classroom. Or if you're printing them out, you can export it to a Google Doc, print it out separately, and then they have their copy, and everybody who is reading the regular text has their copy. But this makes it very quick and very easy to differentiate. Now, this is a great tool. But what if you need to communicate with parents? Let's say that you are working with, you have students. I know we have some students that speak Russian, um, and their parents speak Russian. We have some outlier languages that may not be able to be translated by a parent liaison. And so this is what's cool about the Google Translate. Again, it is a tool within the Google Classroom environment. So let's say I'm doing science fair this year and I need to translate my science fair requirements for the parents. So I'm going to again open up the document, highlight it all, right click and choose copy, go back into the Google Classroom. Now I can choose Arabic, all of this, and then there's all languages. So let's say I need it in Russian because I want to make sure that it makes it home to our one family, right? Now, we also have we have 13 languages in the district, and so not all of them we can't have 13 parent volunteers, right? So, QRS, there we go. So this is going to make it easier for you. Now, is Google Translate perfect? No. Is it enough for the parents to get a decent idea of what it is you're talking about? Yes. So we're going to simply click Google Translate, and now here is my document in Russian. So I can export it to a Google Doc, add my images like I have on the original, or I can copy and paste it, and copy each line because I know it matches it side by side, copy and paste it into a copy of my original document so that it maintains all of the original formatting. This is great for your ability to use it if you wanted to for parent newsletters or field trip forms, things like that. Concerns you might have on behaviors. You can also use it to go directly into Class Dojo if they're not able to, if Class Dojo is not already translating it. So that is two tools that I think we would find highly effective and make your life a whole lot easier than trying to just locate like the parent liaison. And again, you can export it to docs or add it to class, which allows you to create a copy that you can use over and over again. Now, notice here when I click the back button, it says discard changes because they won't be saved. Make sure you export to docs so that you save whatever it is that's done. Even if you don't think that you're going to use it again, go ahead and save it to your Google Docs. So let's say I want to export to docs. So what is it exactly going to do? So it's going to export it, create a new Google Doc, and open it up for you. Okay? It's going to give you the original and the translated text. So now you can go in and copy it and put it into a copy of your original piece. You can also at this point move it to anywhere you want inside your Google Drive. So for example, I'll move this into Science Fair, Papers and Packets, and I'll click Move, and now it's going to go into my Paper and Packets. I can now close this, hit the back button, and I am ready to move on. Now going into Gemini, let's say you want to create some pretty cool stuff in your for your classroom. Brainstorm real world examples. So what I did was I clicked on that. It opened up the Google interface, okay, the Gemini interface. And I thought, okay, I need to hit some of my computer science targets. And a lot of times what I want to do is create things that are more engaging, like creating scenarios. So I went in and I said, create a set of scenarios for 5th grade students to analyze based on the Illinois computing standard. And I copied and pasted, you can open it here. I copy and pasted what that was. That's all the information I gave it. So then Gemini came back with, okay, great. To make their scenarios as relevant as possible, are there any kind of problems you'd like? Would you prefer like phishing scams, password security, or a variety? And I thought, well, I would like them to kind of talk about them, try to identify what the problem is through the scenario. So give me a variety, right? And so then they said, okay, is there anything else I should know, like games, apps, or websites that are popular with them right now? And I said, no, just give me scenarios. I didn't specify a number of scenarios. And as you know, I have 5 tables in my room. I would have liked 5 different scenarios. However, I wanted to see what Gemini was going to give me. So I said I wanted them to also have answer sheets that match the scenario to the cybersecurity risk. So what they did is they gave me 3 scenarios, A, B, and C. Then they gave me an answer key. Okay, this is the key that I would have, right? And then I said, well, I need 5 more. Okay, so it tells you here it's a first pass. We can refine it. A couple of ways we could adjust these is you tell them, so let me know what you think. I said add two more scenarios. Of course, here are 2. You can tell, the more you tell Gemini, the more it's going to look like something that you want. So here's 2 additional scenarios, bringing the total to 5. She also updated the answer key to include all my items. So now I can take these, right? And you can see they already have it as Roblox, right? Maya Rocks. And then they gave different things, right? And then my answer key, there's a phishing one in here, unsecured Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi and password reuse, passwords and data breaches, and malware. And oversharing personal information, which is all things that a 5th grade student should know how to identify and label as what's going on in the scenario. So this is a great way for me to check to see if they already know the standard. So I can now take what I have here, and if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there are these tools here. I can share and export it to a Google Doc, or you can export it to a draft in Gmail if you're communicating with parents. So export to Docs. It's going to then open up a Google Doc with all of this on here. See, there's my new document created. Open up Google Docs. And now, bam, there's my cybersecurity scenarios. And this is where I can take and create little cards. I could print it as is and, just trim them and have them ready to go when the classes start coming in. So of course, again, it puts it in your general Google Drive. Please organize your drive so you don't have a whole bunch of uncategorized files. So I'm going to go into File. I'm going to go into Move. And then it's going to open up my drive. And then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, okay, well, all locations. So my drive, because I have a lot. But I want to go into internet safety, right? So if I go into internet safety and I say, okay, this is for grade 5. I'm going to go in here. Let's say I want to add a folder. I can say cyber security activity, right? POY for beginning of year. So I will hit create. It gives me that folder, and now I can move it to that folder. So now I know I've already created, this is on my list of things I want for the beginning of year activities. It's already created, and I can like go in and print it out from here, or I can add it to Google Classroom. I can do whatever I need to do to get it ready for the school year. And that is just a couple of ideas that you can use. You can also create rubrics. So if you go into assessments, you can create a rubric. You can, and this is, again, let's say you already have the lesson. You have a project-based learning lesson that you guys have been doing forever, and you want to start incorporating rubrics so that kids can get used to looking at rubrics. You just click in here, put your target grade, maybe you have 4th grade, right? How many performance levels do you want? You can do 3, 4, or 5 point rubric. copy and paste your assignment instructions, describe your skills that you want them to understand or demonstrate. What are you grading them on? And then you just click generate the criteria, and it's going to put it together, and you can refine it. Okay. You can also do that from this Google interface, from the conversation with Gemini. You can also create it from there by simply clicking New Chat. So there you go. You can type anything you want. The more specific you can be with your AI interface, the better your results are going to be. And you can always, always refine. Now, when we go back in here, just what I've done is I have also created a worksheet, not worksheet, but a informational sheet on different ideas for using the Gemini, and that will be attached to as a file that you can download. It's a PDF file. I'm sorry, not a PDF. It's a Google Docs file. And I've also added one with instructions on how to create each of those ideas within the Gemini interface for Google Classroom. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or call my room. My room number is now, the extension is now 1068 because they changed all of our room numbers. And I hope everybody has a great school year.